still training people? You still, how many, what's your deal with the training?
So training wise, unfortunately, I had to say goodbye to a lot of clients out in New York City. It was definitely hard to do.
The Wall Street Trainer.
The Wall Street Trainer.
Yeah, where'd you get the name for that?
So I kind of backtracking a little bit. So like I was doing the catering for a while, and one of the guys that was like a captain, which is essentially like your boss. He just kind of like leads everybody.
Do you have to call him captain when you're?
No, they just call him by their first name.
Gotcha. You have a first mate too.
Yeah, it's like being on a ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he, I was always talking about fitness and nutrition and that kind of stuff, and he asked me, so like, do you do personal training? He's like, well, I have a certification, American College of Sports Medicine, and I have a degree in exercise science, but I'm not really doing anything right now.
And also, you're fucking yoked.
Yeah, I try and work out pretty consistently. And so he was like, I got a studio where I do photography down in the financial district. If you'd be interested, you could personal train people in there. You could use a space. We just split it. Take a month, train me, and that will be compensation for that time period where you can use it for free to try and get clientele, and then you can let me know after that. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Just a little like 400 square foot studio. And I got a couple of photos somewhere. And so started that. I remember it was February 2016. And I was like, okay, I have no idea how to get clients, because I had trained a little bit like the YMCA. I trained a little bit at like a LA Fitness back in Springfield, Illinois.
Wow.
And
I know that one.
Yeah. And so I was like, because people would always, essentially get handed to me more or less. They're like, hey, don't train this person. I'd be like, okay. Whereas this is like, I'm in the middle of downtown New York City, where, how am I going to get these people? So I was like, like people can't even see where I am. I'm on like I think we were on the 5th floor at the time. So it's just all you see is a window. So no one has any idea where I am, what I'm doing, or anything like that.
Oh, you got signage. Maybe you could hang a flag.
No, you can't do anything like that. I was like, hey, can I put a banner outside? And they're like, no, you can't put anything on the exterior of the building, because we're renting a space in there, but like the building itself is owned by somebody else, and they're like, there's no exterior stuff you can do. So I can
see that being a slippery slope.
Yeah,
the skyscrapers with all kinds of random shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a bumper.
Yeah,
someone's a bunch of bumper stickers.
So I got to the point where I was like, okay, I made a website. I use like a middleman kind of platform that kind of like finds clients and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, well, I'm in the financial district. I'm right next to. I was actually like steps away from the Charging Bull. So that was pretty cool. Call him Bill the Bull. I walk by him every day. How's it going, Bill?
Is there a bear statue?
No bears. There was a fearless girl that's been recently added, and that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Until dude started posing with her doing bad stuff.
I hadn't heard of that, but they've since moved it to, it's facing like the New York Stock Exchange. So if they're not going to do it anymore. They got armed guards standing outside the Stock Exchange. Damn. So I don't think anyone's going to mess with it. But I was like, I'm right next to Wall Street, and I was like, I wonder if anyone's like got the the domain name like the Wall Street Trainer. That'd be really cool. Yeah. Because I'm thinking like if I ever do personal train, like I'm gonna get one of these guys on Wall Street. So I checked it out, and sure enough, like no one had it. I was like, okay, I'm jumping on this. So I bought it right then, and went on and made a custom shirt and everything, and built the website up, and like I said, I didn't have any way to advertise, so I went to Vistaprint, printed off like 500 cards, went out on the street. Again, in the middle of February, I got on like my tank top because I'm trying to like show that I'm in shape and everything, and it's like probably just above freezing. So, and I'm going on the street on Wall Street, passing out my cards. Personal training, nutrition, personal training and nutrition. Free session, free consultation, just anything I could. And I did that for probably like 3 days or so, and I got to the point where I'd probably passed out almost 300 cards, and then I started kind of getting a couple of calls here and there. A couple people came in, met with them. had one person come in from that middleman website and just kind of slowly built up clientele. And so that was kind of like, that was the beginning of it. And then just kept going from there. And, fast forward, ended up moving into a larger studio space. It was like 1,000 square feet, had a window view. The other one, I was looking at like this like dungeon looking interior of all these buildings. It had, this new place had like, I think it was like 16-foot ceilings or 18-foot. So it was a big space. Yeah. Built that up to the point where it was like, I think I had 30 clients at the time. And that was a lot. Like I was like, whoa, this is, I was waking up at like, 4 a.m. I was getting back at like midnight. And I was starting to get burned out. Like I was like, I'm tired.
Are you participating in any of the workouts with your clients?
Every now and then, I would do some of the workouts with them. I had a group of guys, the men of Midtown is what I call them. A great group of guys. They've since moved to Miami. So shout out to those guys that they're listening, Eric, Ben, and Adi. But we do some stuff and work out, but they were like my last session of the day. So I was so toast. But it was good times. And then so kind of after that, that went for a while and got to the point where, things kind of started going south or sideways, however you want to put it, with a guy I was sharing the space with. He was building up his business and he was bringing in people, and it kind of came to a head. I went back for the holidays, for the 4th of July, my birthday and whatnot, came back, and he pretty much said that like he's going to use the space like 3 or 4 days, like completely. Wanted me to put in like a deposit and all these other things. I was like, hey, I really don't want to do. Asked him to talk about it a little bit, and he just kind of kept putting me off. And I was just like, you know what? I've had a couple things prior to this that didn't add up, and this doesn't make any sense. I'm out. Switched over to like an independent training gym, which was a little scary because it's like, I have all this clientele built up, and I'm saying, hey, we got to switch to a different location.
Yeah, people are creatures of habit, right?
Yeah, and so like I think out of all my clients, I think I had one new person that like I think we might have had one session completed, and they're like, hey, I can't do this, but I also think they're kind of like, they didn't want to do it in the first place. And the other person, they just couldn't make the commute. But pretty much everybody transferred over. And then so I started training in Chelsea. I was training at the Bellion gym. So shout out to those guys. They're awesome. Jeff Bell, Carlos Leon. And so I trained there for my last year, and it was a wonderful experience. I wish I'd been there the first time. Very knowledgeable group of people, essentially personal training gym made by personal trainers for personal trainers. Okay. So it was the best of every which way. It was more affordable, had more flexibility to it, and everybody in there was really nice and personable. And it felt like family. They'd have like little cookouts, and they'd have little dinners every now and then, holiday parties. So if I could do it all over again, I'd probably start there. But I learned a lot from starting off at that one spot, trying to, how do you market yourself in a saturated area? How do you, how do you reach out? How do you stand out? How do you get clientele, but also maintain a good relationship with them? And I think at the end of the day, it's just, being genuine with them and, treating them like you want to be treated. It's, you always come back to the golden rule. You check in on them. You treat them almost like a friend, but keeping that professional kind of distance, if you will. But I mean, I still have a couple of clients to this day that like, they're friends now. I'll call them up, hey, how are you doing? Talk to them, FaceTime, and so it's pretty cool to meet somebody, and then down the road, even though you're essentially from one coast to the next, you can have this really good, strong relationship that you wouldn't normally think would come out of something like that. Yeah. Usually, client and trainer, it doesn't really turn into, friend to friend at the end. So